Hello and welcome to SCAN, a show brought to you by SCAN, the Social Communities Activities Network. SCAN is a nonprofit agency dedicated to helping active adults stay informed, empowered, and inspired. I'm your host, Tracey Wolfman. I am the CEO and owner of We Care Adult Care and a board member of SCAN. Welcome to SCAN offers information and insight to educate and inform you on the services in the community that are available, as well as discuss our program offerings on-site here at Monmouth Mall and at our location on the lower level of Monmouth Mall and at our satellite locations in Freehold, Keansburg, and Ocean County. Our guests will be experts who will provide you with the latest information. We hope to give you valuable resources that you may not have known of. I'd like to welcome my guest today, Marc Levine. Welcome.
Thank you, Tracey.
Marc Levine is going to talk to us today about how to downsize your home. And it's a topic that is of interest to many of us who are trying to downsize. Marc currently is a real estate agent licensed in selling, buying, and renting. He was the former owner of Senior Home Care franchise that he built from the ground up using his management talent, his marketing skills, and the ability to communicate with the public on a one-on-one basis. So now he's parlayed his expertise with home care into selling real estate and has the knowledge and tools to understand and cater to the unique buyers and sellers that are over 55. Marc, welcome to the show today. We are so happy. There's so many people that are downsizing today and need to have some good advice on how to tackle this overwhelming task. And you're going to make it simple, right?
I'm going to do my best. Thank you very much, Tracey.
You're welcome.
So today, I kind of broke it down into 4 categories.
Okay.
We want to start with, when they come to visit somebody and talk to them about their house and talk to them about listing it, trying to sell it, and go from there.
Right.
It's very important. That's the first step. The first step is, of course, I will get involved in talking about a person's finances, talking about any health issues, those 2 things are very important because we have to try to figure out where they're going to go.
Where the next step is
where
to
the
go.
next step is going to be.
Right.
What their living arrangements, what makes sense for them.
Well, we have a few options. They're either going to downsize into a smaller home, right?
Right.
They're going to move into an over 55 community.
Right.
Or possibly an assisted living, whatever fits their
depending
lifestyle.
On their age.
Right.
Depending on their age, their lifestyle, because we are talking to active adults. But the active adults, sometimes, if their health kind of declines a little bit, they might need something more. They might need a little bit more help with the health issue.
Or you want to plan for your aging lifestyle so you don't have to move again.
Absolutely. Hopefully this will be your last move.
Yes.
And it's going to be a very important move. A lot of people are going to be moving from their homes that they've had their whole life. So there is going to be some sadness, some reminiscing.
Lots of reminiscing.
A lot of reminiscing, a lot of nostalgia involved, but it's going to be a little tough, and that's why the family needs to be involved. The children try to get involved in when they do when they do start to try to figure out how to move all their stuff.
Right.
That the children get involved and look at pictures with them and try to make them feel comfortable because they're gonna it could be a stressful situation. Now I'm going to try to help alleviate that. I'm going to, with my knowledge of the healthcare industry and my knowledge in real estate, I'm going to help guide them.
Right.
Try to give as much compassion as possible.
So they're going to find a location first of what they're going to. So you're going to have that discussion with them.
Yes.
And get over the first hurdle.
The
So
first
that's
hump is the location. Where do they want to live? I mean, there's going to be. We also want to talk about whether they want a 55 and over. If they go into a 55 and over, do they want one level or two? Do they want a second level for their children and grandchildren come over to visit?
Right.
You know, so there's going to be, and there's, like I said, it's going to depend on finances and location of their family members and how close they want to be to them, so they all have access to each other.
Okay.
So those things are very important for an active adult or a senior.
Right. So the second thing is, now they decided on the location, and where do you go from there?
Where do you start? You know, and that's a definitely can be stressful unless you try to categorize everything. Try to do everything in steps.
Right.
You know, you want, obviously packing is a big deal.
Right.
Okay. You have to try to streamline that process. You have to try to figure out what is worth taking and what isn't, because you're going to be going into a smaller property. So you need to figure out how to throw things out.
Right. Everything's not going to fit from your house into your new quarters typically.
Right. So you have to think of what is absolutely necessary to take. Some things are going to be emotional, and you're going to want to keep almost everything.
Right.
And it's just not possible. So there are things you can give away to charity.
Right.
Okay. There are companies out there that'll actually take a lot of things off your hands. That will actually take things that you don't need and either buy them from you or just move them out for you.
So do you provide people that you
yes,
assist
I know
with
people.
this?
I have a whole network of people
Okay.
that I can help with.
So
in that regard.
The
yes.
first thing is they're going to dispose of what they don't need or what they don't want.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
so we're discarding.
Yes.
And then somebody had mentioned you have to do this discarding and this pile sorting numerous times. Have you seen that?
Yes, I mean, I remember doing it with my own home too. I mean, you have to label things very carefully.
Right.
The kitchen is the big thing. You know, the kitchen there's a lot of pots and pans and.
Well, hopefully you won't be cooking as much, right? When you move on.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the person.
Right.
You know, I mean, and that's an issue, right? Somebody who does like to cook is going to want to bring more of their kitchen with them.
Right.
You know,
right.
but you have to label things carefully, because once you unpack, then you're going to be. It's going to be a bit of a challenge.
Right.
You know, if you don't have things labeled properly.
Right.
Okay. You have to think about your pets. Okay. Does the new community allow pets? You could be very attached to a pet, right? So you have to think about that. Make plans for the pets, whether they're going to stay with you or somebody else.
Right.
You know, you need to interview movers, which is can be a stressful thing, because you have to make sure that you hire good movers and that you sign contracts and they do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
You know.
So do you typically help with that process as their agent?
I will help them.
Or
I will give them a to-do list, and if they want, I will give them names of moving companies, people that move
that are trustworthy that you've used.
Move people out of. I will help them with any type of resource that they need. You know, that's because that will help with the stress. That will help with guidance. That the things that there's just a lot of things to do.
Right.
And you need to it helps to have a to-do list, and I'll give them that.
So people have told me while they're doing this process that when you start sorting, you make your to keep pile and your discard pile, and then you have to take the to keep pile and break that down a second and sometimes a third time. Now that part of it's very hard and usually is time consuming, because you really have to think about what you're discarding and who you're giving it to.
Yeah, even if you list a house, even if we discuss listing a house, we need time, right? We need time to go through that process.
So you find the location, you help them sort things out, get the packers going, and finding the location.
Right.
You hire the moving company, and then what would be at the next step in this process?
Well, the next process is getting involved in contacting all the companies that know you from your old address.
Right.
Which is the post office, the bank, the utility companies.
Right, I don't think people think about those things.
No,
and
they don't.
You have
There's
to,
a lot of address changes, and there's a lot of company. You could even do a garage sale too, with which I didn't mention.
Right.
To get rid of some stuff that and make a few dollars in the process.
There you go.
Which is cool. But you have to pack your valuables separately too. Okay, I know I'm going back a little. I apologize.
That's okay.
But yes, there's essential documents that you need to go over with your family members and your financial advisors. Credit cards, voter registrations, Medicare and Social Security cards.
Right.
All these things have your old, your old address. And
changing your Social Security check deposit if you're moving bank locations also.
absolutely, there's a lot
So typically you would get a checklist and go through this process with people and see them from start to finish. So you're going to talk to them about where they're going to go to their next move.
Absolutely.
Then
help
you're
them
going to assist them in sorting and downsizing and
start the process.
Hiring movers.
Process of doing. which
Process
we
of doing,
discussed.
yes. And then you would see them through, and then you go on with them to move into their new location.
If they need my guidance and my if they need guidance and they need support when they get to their next
Right.
step of their lives, sure, I'll do it. I'm a full service kind of guy. I will,
And you parlay your past experience in home care into this with your compassion and your knowledge of what they might need and what they
Yeah.
may not need.
I have a good support system, in the healthcare industry. If there's any healthcare issues that they need, if they decide to downsize into a 55 and over or an assisted living, I know many people that are involved in that process.
Right.
That people that actually run assisted livings and run 55 and overs, and I can kind of guide them to, depending on how active they want to be. Mm-hmm. I will guide them because once you go into 55 and over or an assisted living, you are there's a socialization aspect to it, and you have to decide how social do you want to be.
Right.
And every community is different.
So any last helpful hints that you can give our viewers to tell them on making this transition? We want to keep it positive, we want to keep it stress-free, and we want to
Absolutely.
have a time frame possibly of how long that they should plan on putting aside for this?
Once you see, the thing is, we have to discuss this before you actually list the house.
Right.
Because if you list the house, somebody could come in a week later and say, I want to buy it. Then you're kind of like,
So you need to be ready when you're putting it on the market.
You have to make the plan
Okay.
before I actually, if I'm helping you, before we actually put list the house and try to sell it.
Very
because
good.
you need to have right. Everything in life that seems to go smooth is when you plan correctly.
Right. So the good thing is to plan. So to our viewers, we're going to tell them to first make their list, sort and discard,
Right.
hire the essential people,
Exactly.
make their list of changes for address, banking, things like that, and then move into their new accommodations. Thank you so much for listening to our show thus far. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back to give you some more helpful information.
So, if you're over 65, like me,
and active and fairly healthy,
Being active and healthy alone will not protect you.
Remember, the immune system weakens with age.
And if you're over 65, ask your doctor about your vaccination options.
we want you to be healthy and active.
Welcome back, and thank you for watching our show today. I'm here with Marc Levine, who is a realtor from Century 21, former home care agency owner, who is going to be talking some more about moving, downsizing, and choosing the right places and locations to go to. Welcome back, Marc.
Thank you, Tracy.
So we spoke about sorting and discarding. I wanted to go back and reflect a little bit. People have their houses. They might have a lot of furniture. They might have a lot of possessions. They may be of value. Some things may not be of value. So we want to think about, are we going to sell these things? From my own personal experience, my father-in-law, when we were moving him out of his house, you know, they think their furniture from 50 years ago
Right.
is worth such great quality, which it was,
Right.
but there's really no value in selling those kind of pieces today, no matter what the quality is. So do you donate these items? Do most people donate them? And what kind of agencies would you donate to if you're not going to sell it?
Well, you would try to donate it. You have to see what's, you know, every charity has their own criteria.
Right.
You know, obviously the Red Cross
Criteria in meaning
and
of
what they're going to take.
Okay.
And what they're going to take. From personal experience, sometimes they won't take what you think they will.
Right,
You know,
right.
you might think you have a great piece.
Because we all think we have great
Right,
pieces.
everybody's happy
Yes.
because we bought the furniture.
Right.
And we think it's still in good condition. But these companies, they only have so much space themselves.
Right.
And
And what are they going to do with it?
yeah, and there's a warehouse down in South Jersey that people go to buy and sell these furniture.
Okay.
The different pieces. And it's an interesting place. I was there one time a while back, but like I said, going back to what you were saying, there only so many things are taken by charities. There's Catholic charities, there's Jewish charities, there's so many more charity organizations than there used to be even 20 years ago.
So typically, if somebody is in need of donating, you would have resources that you could call or suggest to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have some companies I know that
And
would-
then do they
that would
come
evaluate.
and pick up the furniture, or do you have to take it to them?
They will come and pick up the furniture
Okay.
and then bring it to warehouses in different parts of the state, like I just mentioned.
And typically, do they charge for that, or you donate it and they'll take it away?
It depends. The company, the charities will just take it.
Okay.
Then there are companies where they'll discard of everything in your house, and they'll go over things with you and see what do you know, whether or not they think something is valuable, they might pay you for it.
Okay.
Or just, you might, if there's nothing of value, they might, you might have to pay them to get rid of it.
Okay.
Or they might get rid of it for free. The scenarios are all different, and I can help with that. And you know,
And typically, I think people think that there's more value to their items than what we originally believed there to be.
yeah, in some cases.
So you can go through a house and take an inventory of big items that may be able to be donated.
Absolutely, everything has to be categorized.
Okay, and then they should choose the charity that they
Yeah,
prefer most.
yeah.
So you would give
we can
them.
talk about it. Yeah, we can talk about it. I can discuss with them different organizations that I'm familiar with.
Okay, and some of those off the top of your head?
Well, like I said, I'm besides the Red Cross, I couldn't give you specific names, but there are a lot of, like I said, religious organizations that
Okay.
will take things off your hands, and I can do some more research and give my client a list.
And
they can
then we
decide.
have the discarding of clothes, because all of us have way too many clothes to. And they can be donated, so that's.
Sure. That's another thing that can be donated. You can give things to not just specific charities. There's a veterans. My wife does it. There's a veterans organization that takes items, any items,
Okay.
toys.
And they pick it up?
They pick it up.
Okay,
they pick
very
it up
good.
as long as we put it right on our stoop.
Oh,
and they
come
away.
and they
so
pick it
that's
up.
another option.
Okay, so now we're discarding of the big items. Now we're going down to packing. Now we had this conversation previously when we were on break about boxes.
Yes.
So that can get into a costly endeavor when you're going out to purchase boxes, when you're going out to purchase tape and packing material. So those kind of things, you can start
Absolutely.
to save boxes, right?
Absolutely. You probably should save boxes 6 months before you decide to move.
Okay.
Because this way, because nowadays it's easier because of all the online shopping.
Right.
So
right,
now
right.
a lot of times you get boxes from Amazon and companies like that, and you keep them.
Okay.
Because you really can't go to the supermarket like the old days
Right.
and just get boxes.
Right,
They're not
'cause
available to you.
They crush them all.
Right.
All right, so we got the charities, we got the boxing, and now they're going to be packing everything up and moving on. So when we go to the new community that we're going to live in, now do you tour them through these facilities prior to them moving?
We'll go through them, together when we sit.
Okay.
Okay. If I am going to be the person that is going to be the buying, in other words, the dual agent.
Right.
If I'm doing the selling and the buying, absolutely.
Right.
If they hire me to do both, I will go with them, and we will. I'll do the real estate. I'll do the real estate thing. I will get the comparables. We will look at different communities. We will, based on the criteria we said earlier, the location and what kind of community they want to live in,
right.
Whether it's a house at 55 and over, an assisted living, and I will go with them, absolutely, and handhold them through the process.
Okay. And other realtors, because somebody that's one of our viewers may be out of this community, you would advise them to seek out a realtor that is familiar with the community resources, number one.
Absolutely.
Yes. Are there any other helpful hints that you might advise them to look for, especially if they're moving out of state?
Oh, if they're leaving this state.
We'll just say as a realtor to help our...
Yeah, Century 21, as most big agencies have, are relocation services.
Okay.
Where I can contact another agent in another state and talk to them about the needs of this client if they're leaving the state.
Okay.
And do all the necessary contact with somebody, like I said, with an agent from another community in another state.
Okay.
Okay. If we're actually going to be
So you can
leaving the state,
you can coordinate
have resources
those.
there too. We
Right.
have a big relocation service organization.
But I'm saying not just through your agency, like
Okay.
other, you would communicate with other resources if the person needs to relocate to another area
Absolutely.
that, happens to be, they could be moving into a child's home, right?
Listen, like I said before, I'm a full service agent. I will do whatever it takes to help to be that helpful person. I did it in my former career with healthcare, and
Right.
that's for me, that's second nature. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to make that the experience a great one.
That's wonderful, wonderful. And let's just reflect back a little bit on the pets, because so many people today have pets.
Yes, and they're very attached.
They are very attached. So if they're going to be moving, what are some of the things that you recommend prior to moving day with those pets?
Well, when they look for a home to move into, whether it's a single family or whether it's a 55 and over, you want to see the backyard. You want to see if there's fencing.
Right.
And whether or not you can put fencing around your property so that the dogs, I shouldn't say dogs, animals.
Right, dogs, cats, birds.
have a place to roam around without getting disappearing.
Right.
That's very important to a lot of owners. Anytime I list a house or I look to buy a house, if somebody has a pet, it's a key issue.
Right. Well, what about on moving day, for instance? Do you work with kennels, or are they called doggy daycares now, or cat daycares? Now they have
It depends on
animal
the client.
hotels.
It depends on the client. I mean, it might not be necessary. You might just be able to pack the animal right in your car, like you do when you take them on, when you take them on trips to your relative's house. Or it depends on the animal. It depends on the size of the animal. Sure,
Right.
you want to put somebody in a doggy daycare for a week until things get settled.
Right.
Because
and
you
so they're not,
you don't need the distraction.
Right.
Yeah,
So you get
that was a good idea, Tracy.
Yeah. So, all right, so we have the packing, we have the animals now. We're going to try and get them to pre-plan for all of this and make their address change, credit card change.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do.
So, right, so as we're talking about all these things now, I think the check-off list for every person who's considering doing this at this stage of their life. So we get to 55, we get to 60, and we say, we better start thinking about this.
Sure.
before it's just like, oh, we're moving out, we're putting the house for sale, right? So it's a process.
Yeah, and I'll categorize it for somebody. I'll put it in, with my listing presentation.
Okay.
And like I said before the break, the more time you spend on this, the more planning you do, the smoother it's going to go.
Right.
But when you have somebody, that really cares and you can trust, that's going to help you through the process, that's going to make your life a lot easier.
Right. You want it to be easy and smooth as possible, because it's a very emotional time too when you're discarding your things.
Yes.
Or downsizing or moving to a new location, all of those things, you have to think about the medical component. So are we getting new doctors? Are medications
Depends on how far we
getting
go.
changed
I guess
to
it depends on how far we go.
Right, new pharmacies and things like that.
Yeah, it's a new neighborhood. And a new neighborhood brings new challenges.
Right.
But no challenge. It's not challenges you can't overcome.
Well,
it's just different. You're just going to meet different people, right? You're going to go into a different food market, a different pharmacy, like you said.
Right.
A different possibly a different doctor.
Possibly.
And different professionals, dentists, doctors. But hopefully won't be that far away.
Right.
Where you can't do,
So I think we covered a lot of stuff here today. Lots of things to think about. Is there any last tips that you want to give our viewers? Got it.
I want your viewers to understand that this, this downsizing process doesn't have to be something that they have to fear. That it can go smoothly. With, by planning and by using, by teaming with a professional that can help you understand everything you need to do. So when you're over in the new community, you settle in a comfortable way.
Well, thank you for coming on our show today, Marc. I greatly appreciate all the helpful hints. We thank you so much for tuning in to Welcome to Scan. I hope that you enjoyed it and learned some helpful tips. Now it's your turn. I'd love to hear from you and what's on your mind. Please call Scan at 732-542-1326, or you can email us at www.scannj.com to send us your show ideas. And until then, thanks for watching Welcome to Scan.